Welcome to this explainer. Today we are entirely decoding ancient mind science. And to do this, we're taking a completely unique three-step approach. As a specialized translator of Pali texts, I absolutely ignore later Sanskrit, Chinese, or Standard English interpretations. Instead, first we establish a baseline, using trusted sources like the Pali Text Society or DP Dictionary. Second, I put on my ancient Magadhi linguist hat, taking us right back to the Buddha's time, and we apply the ancient frameworks of Natti's hara to find the true intent, and Parisambhita's niruti to dig down to the absolute root syllables. Finally, we take those ancient roots and act as modern visual storytellers to make these abstract concepts intensely visual and concrete. We're stripping away the dogma to uncover the raw, powerful psychological mechanics hidden inside these texts.
Which brings us to a really fascinating hook question. Do we actually understand the ancient words we use for mindfulness? You see, when we rely on standard dictionary definitions or modern translations, we so often get this watered-down, incredibly abstract version of what was originally taught. The Buddha wasn't just giving dry philosophical lectures, he was handing out high-powered raw psychological tools. And today, we are going to sharpen those tools.
All right, Section 1, The Roots of True Friendship. We'll be exploring some brilliant concepts from Itivuttaka 17 and 76.
Okay, let's dive into this. We usually think of mind science as purely internal, right? But the texts actually start with external influences. Now, for our first step, if you look up kalyāṇamitta in the Standard Pali Text Society dictionary, it simply says good friendship. I mean, that just sounds like having a buddy to grab coffee with. But moving to step 2, when we apply Patisambhita's niruti to crack open that Magadhi root, we uncover something way more powerful. It literally translates to an external catalyst, forcing the abandonment of the unwholesome. This isn't just a pal, it is an active force for your mental evolution.
So, the true root definition of kalyāṇamitta is a transformative association that actively pulls the mind toward wholesome development and cuts off negative tethers. The literal mechanics of this word reveal that a true friend in this ancient context operates as an active psychological shield. They don't just sit by passively, they actively alter your environment so that your absolute worst habits simply cannot survive.
And this brilliantly illustrates the concept in a way you can instantly picture. Itivuttaka 76 gives us this incredibly vivid, concrete metaphor. He who wraps a rotten fish in grass, the grass also stinks. He who wraps a fragrant leaf, the leaves also smell sweet. Notice how the ancient text doesn't use abstract philosophy here at all. It uses a sensory, physical object. You can almost smell it, right? We literally absorb the energy, the habits, and the mindset of our environment.
You absorb what you touch, whether it's the stinking grass of toxic company or the sweet smell of a fragrant leaf. You are totally porous. This is the ultimate, highly practical, modern application of this text. Curating your circle isn't just some nice self-help idea, it is the absolute prerequisite for upgrading your mind.
Moving right along to Section 2, The Architecture of Virtue. Let's look at the concept of sila.
We just saw how external friendship shapes us. Now let's see how that builds internal boundaries. Step 1. The DP Dictionary defines sila as morality or precepts. It feels heavy, rigid, and dogmatic, doesn't it? Like a list of religious rules designed purely to make you feel guilty. But step 2. When we apply Netti's hara to find the true intent of the Magadhi root, sila actually means the bedrock foundation or a harmonizing protective boundary. It is literally an architectural term. It's not about being punished for sinning. It's about constructing a solid boundary that keeps your mind safe and happy.
And because it's a protective foundation, the text promises these 3 very real, happy outcomes: praise from the wise, the acquisition of wealth, and a heavenly, joyful state. Notice how incredibly pragmatic this is. Virtue isn't about suffering right now for some later cosmic reward. It's a highly practical, self-benefiting strategy for your daily living. When you have strong boundaries, people trust you, resources naturally flow to you, and your mind gets to rest in a joyful state.
Now for Section 3, Decoding Deep Mental Taints, straight out of Itivuttaka 56.
With our foundation built, we are venturing way deeper into the subconscious. Ask yourself, what is secretly driving your worst habits? This is perhaps the most abstract yet profoundly dangerous concept we're covering in this explainer. We literally all have those moments where we act totally against our own best interests. But why?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the contrast.
Our Step 1 baseline from the Polytext Society Dictionary gives us the words taints or corruptions. Honestly, incredibly boring and dry. But applying our ancient linguist framework, Padisambhita's Naruti, to the original Magadhi word asava, we get the true root, toxic, oozing effluence leaking from the subconscious. Suddenly, we're at Step 3, visual storytelling. It's a highly visual, physical concept. We're not talking about some vague philosophical badness here. It is a literal, toxic, leaking sludge. Let's really cement this concrete metaphor. Asava are deep-seated psychological leaks that continuously drip into your conscious mind, blinding you to reality. I want you to literally visualize your bad habits as a physical, dark, sticky substance constantly dripping into your pristine awareness. This sludge distorts absolutely everything you see and feel. The text analytically breaks down 3 specific toxic leaks for us. First, sensual desire, that endless, nagging itch for the next physical pleasure. Second, the craving for existence, the exhausting non-stop need to constantly be somebody, to build up an ego. And third, deep ignorance, the fundamental blind spot to how reality actually works. These 3 leaks are just constantly oozing in the background of our minds. So what is the ultimate goal here? Itivuttaka 56 boils it down to this remarkably simple, bright imperative: stop the leak, find peace. Ultimate psychological freedom isn't about acquiring magical, mystical powers. It is simply the absolute, total drying up of these subconscious toxic leaks. When the sludge stops dripping, the mind becomes perfectly clear.
Section 4. Thoughts that blind you, from Itivuttaka 87.
We transition now from subconscious leaks to conscious thoughts. Once again, standard dictionaries totally fail us, translating vittaka as passive reasoning or thoughts. I mean, that sounds like harmless daydreaming. But ancient linguistic insight reveals vittaka as a forceful, active lens. It is the forceful striking or application of the mind upon an object. You aren't just passively having a thought, you are actively wielding your mind like a hammer, striking it against reality and completely shaping your perception. And when you strike the mind negatively, it gets really dangerous. The text lists 3 negative applications, or akusala vittaka, thoughts of sensuality, ill will, and harm. The ancient text warns that repeatedly striking your mind with these 3 things literally causes blindness and destroys your wisdom over time.
To make this abstract idea beautifully concrete for our modern minds, the text gives us a powerful visual. Think of these unwholesome thoughts as blinding dust. Every single time you strike your mind with anger or ill will, you are basically kicking up a choking, blinding dust storm in your own head. You literally cannot see reality clearly because your own thoughts are clouding the air.
So the crucial point is, how do we clear the air? Well, we do this by applying kusala vittaka, or wholesome thoughts. These are renunciation, which means letting go, non-ill will, which is loving kindness, and non-harm, or compassion. These positive mental strikes don't kick up dust. They actually create vision and build profound, lasting wisdom.
I absolutely love this beautiful, striking imagery from Itivuttaka 87. Just as a heavy shower of rain quickly settles the dust, so do wholesome thoughts settle the mind. This is the ultimate Naruti translation of mental clarity. Wholesome thoughts are the heavy, refreshing rain that washes that blinding dust right out of the air.
Think about the contrast here. A mind choked by the dust of ill will is chaotic, blind, and suffocating. But a mind washed clean by the rain of wholesome thoughts is crisp, clear, and perfectly settled. By choosing exactly how you apply your mind, you are actively choosing whether you get the blinding dust storm or the cleansing rain.
Let's pull this entire incredible journey together. To truly utilize this ancient mind science, the formula is clear and remarkably practical. Clear the blinding dust with wholesome thoughts. Seal the toxic, oozing leaks of your subconscious. And to make it all possible in the first place, wrap yourself in fragrant leaves. Choose the friends and environments that actively pull you upward.
We've completely stripped away the abstract dictionaries today and looked at the raw, mechanical workings of the mind. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If your thoughts are a lens, and every thought is a forceful strike shaping your very reality, what are you choosing to see today? Thank you so much for exploring these incredible ancient texts with me. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.